Well, you know, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help because voters...
Whoopi Goldberg has spent years ruling The View like her own personal kingdom, shutting down guests, steamrolling over opposing voices, and throwing out her opinions as if they were facts written in stone. But then she met Karoline Leavitt, and in the span of one brutal episode, the queen of daytime TV found herself completely dethroned. What happened next, no one saw it coming.
We can't allow on this show to have things said that we know for a fact are not true.
With plenty of smug laughter, sarcasm, and the usual left-leaning panel nodding along to whatever was being said, the day's episode started like any other. But the moment Whoopi opened her mouth, the energy shifted. The topic of the day? Wokeness, a word that The View practically treats as gospel, a concept they defend at all costs. Perhaps feeling a little too confident, Whoopi decided to take the first shot. With her signature smirk, she pointed a finger at Karoline and said, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job."
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
But Karoline didn't flinch. She didn't get defensive. Instead, she smiled, a slow, knowing smile that said, "Oh, you just made a big mistake." Then, with the kind of calm that only comes from knowing you have the facts on your side, she tore Whoopi's entire argument apart. This is like nothing you've seen before, and we implore you to like and subscribe as we dive deeper.
Colleagues, I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good. So good. In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more of the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably...
She started with the numbers. Government spending reports showing how taxpayer dollars were funding absurd woke projects, from gender studies in Guatemala to foreign Sesame Street programs designed to push American social activism abroad. She laid it all out with precision, making it crystal clear that wokeness had evolved from a movement about fairness into a political weapon used to silence those who dared to think differently. Whoopi, who is used to guests fumbling over their words when challenged, suddenly found herself backed into a corner. And even if she wanted to clap back now, Karoline wasn't about to let her.
Saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS, quite frankly. We need a...
Whoopi opened her mouth, then shut it. She opened it again, nothing. The audience, usually quick to cheer on Whoopi's quips, sat frozen. Even the camera crew seemed hesitant. Do they zoom in on Whoopi's stunned face? Capturing the moment, she looked like she wanted to sink into her chair after the terrible statement she had made.
You know, listen. If you don't have anything to say, You blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Right.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say, they talk at you, not to you. And that's what she was doing. And she was doing it, and it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail.
The truth is, if wokeness is really about diversity and inclusion, then why are conservative women always the ones being attacked?
Dan Rather weighed in on X, and he said he compared our time now to the Nixon era, which was a little scary for me. But he said, enough with both sides-ism. When one side lies intentionally and repeatedly, they are no longer entitled to the benefit of the doubt.
And we should keep in mind, too, that the people that need to hear this are the people who are running the networks that are okaying this. Because this idea, it's like they say to you now, you can only work within this perimeter. But if the facts are not clear to people, that was what a journalist was there to do, to say, in fact, this is what went on and this is how we checked. Now, we've been given doubts that people don't know how to do this. The media has pretty much always been... This is her first job. I would like her to do a little homework, because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a...
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit of, oh, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her own.
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Karoline Leavitt worked, I mean, she went to St. Anselm College, she worked for WMUR
Ran
TV.
for Congress?
In New Hampshire, she ran for Congress at the age of 25, put on a very good campaign. She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Pregnant. Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this, again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job
This wasn't the first time Whoopi's mouth had written a check she couldn't cash. Over the years, she has turned The View into a lawsuit magnet, dragging ABC into controversy after controversy. From her tone-deaf remarks about the Holocaust to her bizarre defenses of questionable figures, Whoopi has been at the center of some of the show's biggest scandals. But nothing hit the network harder than the recent defamation lawsuits, first from Carrie Underwood, then from Elon Musk, and now from Karoline Leavitt.
voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help because voters are going to re-elect President Trump back to the White House very soon because voters see these trials that are being brought forward against President Trump for what they are. They are sham show trials. They are election interference in an attempt to imprison President Trump. And the irony in all of this is that Joe Biden and the Democrats and these ladies on The View constantly say President Trump is the alleged threat to democracy, when in fact they themselves are wishfully thinking that President Trump will be imprisoned when he has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the real threat to democracy. Voters see that, and that's why President Trump continues his dominance in the polls, not just with Republicans and independents, but he's also picking up historic gains with Democrat constituencies such as African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and union workers.
Well,
Let's talk about Carrie Underwood. Whoopi and her co-hosts went after her like vultures when she performed at Trump's second swearing-in ceremony. They mocked her, claimed she had destroyed her career, and even suggested she had aligned herself with hate. Underwood, usually one to avoid drama, had enough. She filed a $1 billion defamation lawsuit against The View. And when the case went to court, leaked emails revealed something explosive. ABC had planned the attack on Underwood to boost ratings. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the industry, and ABC ended up paying a massive settlement, one that had executives questioning if The View was still worth the trouble. And then there was Elon Musk, asterisk.
To each side. And now when we've gone to this place where you only hear this, see, we have to tell you both sides. That's why Alyssa's here, that's why Anna's here, because we don't all think the same way. And it's like you all don't think the same way, so you want to hear what other people say. But when they're lying, we can't have it. We can't allow on this show to have things said that we know for a fact are not true. That's what it used to be. That's what it needs to go back to be, and that's where y'all come in. It's okay to feel how you feel, but demand the truth. Demand folks fact check what they're telling you, because what they're telling you is important. And
Whoopi had spent months calling him everything from a dangerous billionaire to a threat to democracy. But when she and the other hosts started spreading provably false claims about Twitter's policies under Musk, he did something no one expected. He sued. And when Musk sues, he doesn't mess around. ABC once again had to go into damage control mode, and whispers started floating around that advertisers were growing tired of The View's nonstop controversies.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
All right. What'd she say?
She basically said that they were going to give unqualified
God, how boring.
unqualified
Can they
people
get somebody there
jobs.
not so
Behind
tedious?
the Table podcast needs to apply for White House credentials.
Oh, they'd love having Joy in that room.
I
got a question.
So wait a second. So in other words, instead of Bob Woodward, they want Kim Kardashian? What? I don't get it.
And now, Karoline Leavitt had just delivered another devastating blow. 1 lawsuit is bad. 2 is worse. But 3 is a crisis. And ABC executives were panicking. The show was losing millions in ad revenue, and insiders leaked reports that some of the network's biggest sponsors were reconsidering their partnerships. But the fallout didn't stop there. ABC executives immediately went into crisis mode. For years, they had allowed Whoopi to run The View unchecked, letting her shut down conservative guests without consequence. But now she was the one who got shut down, and it was humiliating. And just when things couldn't get worse for her, they did. Sponsors started pulling out. Advertisers didn't want to be associated with a show where the hosts storm off instead of debating. Even loyal View fans started questioning whether the show had finally gone too far.
Attacking a woman for her looks or age isn't very progressive. Let's bring in Sky News contributor Kosha Garda. Kosha, particularly that last clip that we played, it was so condescending. The way that she was scolding her as if she was a schoolgirl, suggesting she needed to do her homework. I find it so hypocritical when these so-called you know, caring, progressive voices just turn so nasty like that?
Yes, and as you mentioned, with conservative women, there's a long list of that, both of Trump's previous press secretaries, females, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kayleigh McEnany, other figures like his campaign manager the first time, Kellyanne Conway, Sarah Palin very famously had to bear the brunt of a lot of this. So people are used to that. I think in their bubble of the audience that The View speaks to, that's probably kind of what the group think is. So one defense, I guess, is that she was speaking to her audience, but you take it outside of that bubble the way you are right now, and we all can see what it is. It was also interesting, too, because she was conflating two ideas.
Then came the moment no one saw coming. ABC removed Whoopi Goldberg from The View. Of course, they didn't say she was fired. They tried to spin it with the usual PR nonsense, claiming that Whoopi was taking a break to focus on other projects. But anyone with half a brain knew the truth. She got the boot. Whoopi had spent years dominating The View, turning it from a panel discussion into an echo chamber where only one side of the argument was ever allowed to be heard. She had belittled, dismissed, and silenced guests without a second thought. But one debate with Karoline Leavitt changed everything. And now, The View was in absolute
Leavitt
turmoil.
changed everything. And now, The View was in absolute turmoil.
While I vow to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there's misinformation about this White House.
Boom. She's got more.
I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
Bam! It's on in the middle of the night. I'll play.
Would ABC bring in another Whoopi-like figure to replace her? Or would they finally admit that the show needed balance? Could The View even survive this kind of backlash? Had Karoline just set a new standard for how conservatives fight back against the media? Whoopi thought she could steamroll Karoline like she had done to so many others. Instead, she got completely wrecked in front of millions of viewers. And now, as ABC scrambles to fix the mess, the world is watching.
Is watching.
Is a rock star.
Meantime, new rock star launched overnight. Now, I know she's been around for some time, but how's this? She's just 27. But she's fantastic. This is the brand new press secretary representing the president. Now remember old Karoline Jean-Pierre just lying to people about how amazing Biden was, deep fakes. The one before that, Jen Psaki, circle around just telling lies. Well, they've been replaced with a lady called Karoline Leavitt. I repeat, you can see she's a lady of faith. She's a lady who knows how to fire guns recreationally. And she knows how to drop a few bombs verbally on a press pack that, remember, covered up for Biden and have told the worst possible lies about incoming future Hitler Trump. Have a look at her taking control of a room of people who normally wouldn't even roll their eyes.
Whoopi Goldberg had always been The View's biggest star. But now she's its biggest liability. The fallout from this latest controversy could be the final nail in the coffin for The View. Would ABC finally pull the plug? Or would they ever consider reinstating Whoopi after she's gone? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video.